Hola. Welcome to Word to Your Mama, the podcast that amplifies diverse voices and celebrates shared experiences. Hosted by me, Ritzy P., a Latina creative entrepreneur with a background in art, music, and new web technologies. From Academy and Emmy winners to activists, artists, and builders, we celebrate the rich diversity of my multicultural tribe. There will be special guests, mad laughs, and absolutely no BS. Word to Your Mama drops every Monday on your favorite podcast platform. Today's guest is Sket 1, aka Sket Uno. He is a creative director, artist, muralist, graffiti artist, overall quality Caucasian who hails from Money Haven, Pistol Waving, New Haven, Connecticut. And he's one of the four of us that started the first podcast that it was your Heard Show, hashtag Thanks Sket. It was me, Sket Uno, Kano, who's been on here, and Ginger Snappers, aka Shane Jessup, who also has been on here. So this rounds it all up, kids, where it's the last of the You Heard Show crew. It was a podcast that was way ahead of its time. Podcasts weren't really a big thing like they are now. And we talked about the street on up, everything street art on up. And yeah, we can't air those shows, not at all, re-air those shows at all. There's a lot of a grip of inappropriate things. Times have changed. There's things that we said that we could never say. But anyways, on this episode, we get to know a little bit more about Sket Uno, which I think is a great episode, especially for up-and-coming artists, up-and-coming creatives just starting out their career. We talk about how it was a quality Caucasian growing up in New Haven, Connecticut, how he got into graffiti, how he navigates shady people in the industry. And it doesn't matter what industry you go in, they're always there. It's like, well, how do you navigate those experiences, those people, and all that good stuff? And then how moving to California impacted his art, how having corporate experience helps pitching personal projects to the suits, and his design process for his latest figure to come out. It's the Optimus Prime that is available for pre-order. Check the show notes, and so much more. Like I said, he's a quality Caucasian. I've known him for a long time now. He's definitely family. With the Supernatural Bear Corner, you hear the Supernatural Bear talk about his Uncle Sket. So yeah, let's get into it. So I'm just gonna.
What questions do we have from the guys? That's what I want to hear. I want to hear what everybody asked.
So there. So Sket, I'm gonna ask you how you're doing to start this off, but I will also say, I got the questions that I'm gonna ask on here, and then I got the questions that I can't ask on here that they gave me. No.
Well, why? How bad are they?
Just from one person, I was hilarious, and I could not. You'll understand when I tell you off. Okay. So Sket, thank you.
Yes.
How are you, man?
I'm good. I'm doing good. Very busy. Finally feeling settled in.
Nice.
Like finally feeling like, okay, this is home, and things are starting to like just settle down and get back into the groove I was in when I left.
Dope. I'm glad to hear it, man. A move is always crazy, so I'm glad that you're settling down. So I wanted to start with the peeps, because we got peeps that are your fans that are listening. We got peeps that don't know, I don't know how, but they've never heard of Sket 1, aka Sket Uno. And so let's start off with your time in. I'm trying to remember if I remember the nickname right. Money Craven, New Haven? Is that?
Yes, that is correct. Money Craven, Pistol Waving, good old New Haven.
Perfect. So let's start there. Let's take it from the beginning. So were you born? I don't know if I know this. Were you born there too?
I was born in New Haven. So there's New Haven,
Mm-hmm.
and then, there's surrounding towns that are in New Haven. But they're part of the New Haven area, so to say, but then there's like, smaller towns.
Yeah.
So I was born in New Haven, but I lived in Hamden, which is 10 miles away from the center of New Haven.
Got it.
So it's
like
just a different section.
New Haven County, like LA County, and then you have like the little areas or whatever.
Yeah.
And what do they call them in Connecticut? They don't call them boroughs, they call them neighborhoods.
Towns.
Oh, yeah, I'm
towns.
one town over.
Yeah, I'm a town over. There was like North Haven, Hamden, West Haven, East Haven. They got really creative when they were making up the names.
Got it. So I wanted to find out what, as a quality Caucasian, because that's what we have on the show is quality Caucasian. As a quality Caucasian in Money Haven, pistol waving New Haven, how did you get into graffiti? It was just the times?
It was the times. It was everything. I grew up, I was like, 12, 13, 82, 83. So like once hip hop hit, I was about an hour and 20 minutes outside of New York. So I got BLS, I got KISS. These are radio stations that were on every Friday night, Red Alert, Mr. Magic, we got all that stuff.
Lucky.
So plus my dad worked for Atlantic Records at the time. He was an executive producer. My mom and dad were divorced. So I lived up in Hamden in New Haven, and my father lived in Stamford, which was closer to New York City. So I would see my dad, I would hop on the train. There's a commuter train that goes from New Haven to the city. And I would go to the train. I would go visit my dad in the city all the time. I probably started going to the city. The earliest I can remember going to the city, I was 6, maybe 5.
Wow.
So seeing graffiti was just, I was brought into art through, believe it or not, music, because my dad would bring home all these record covers, and all the record covers had art on them and logos. And at a young age, I was just like, you had like Bad Company with like the wolves on the front of Running with the Pack. Like these are all like records I can remember growing up, AC/DC's logo and Rolling Stones logo. And so all these logos like were things I was looking at every day. And then, I think it had a big impact. I was into comics too. Like where Atlantic Records was 2 floors up was DC Comics. So my dad had a bunch of friends up at DC Comics, and he would trade records for comics.
That's amazing.
And so comics and graffiti and art in general, I was just constantly around, and I was always drawing. But like I said, once hip hop hit, that's when kind of everything, I was like, 12, 13, 14, everything came together.
Yeah.
I was getting records. Early on, they were putting out these mixed records of just random rap groups. And I remember Brim from New York, Tatts crew, had a piece. I forgot the name of the record, but it had a bunch of pieces on the record as the cover. And Brim had a piece on there. I remember that stood out. And then, I got Subway art, and I got, all the different books that, kids my age got influenced by. So it was just a culmination of being that age group, and then you had skateboarding and BMX going on at the same time. And skateboarding had a huge amount of graffiti in it, and graphics and stuff like that. And BMX also was, logo infused, the companies in BMX. You could get a high-end logo like 09, and then you can get like a funky logo like, SE and PK Ripper. So all that stuff like affected me.
Yeah, because you're surrounded. You're
heavily influenced.
Yeah, like I never thought of. Of course, I think of Connecticut as East Coast, but because I'm not from there, I forget how everything's hella close.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to go back and forth. And what about did the freestyle records artwork? Did that have any influence? Like I don't remember what the artwork looked like because I didn't get those records. I just heard it on the radio, so I don't know what it even looked like. They didn't even have logos, really, right?
No, I don't know. All the freestyle. My dad loved freestyle, and he produced freestyle. My dad is responsible for some bullshit. But I think, like, at the time, freestyle was just, I mean, shit, we broke to a lot of freestyle. I remember there was this club in Hamden called Daniel's, and, they would have a kids' night, so to say. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was like 13 and over or something. And, so all the high school students that were there, of course, all the girls with their hairspray hair, they'd be dancing to the freestyle. And then, all the boys that were breakdancing and stuff would be on the outskirts waiting for, a rap or a breakdance song, something to come on that we could start breaking to.
Oh, that's amazing. But, those are the good times.
That's funny. But it's funny. I mean, but the freestyles, my dad produced like Seduction. Ooh, and I don't know if they consider them as freestyle, but, just at that particular time, he probably produced a lot more. Like, I'm sure he was involved with like Lisa and stuff like that, but
nice.
Don't like quote me on it. I you know how it is when your parents, like if your parents are into something, you're like, that's corny. You know what I mean?
Totally.
It just automatically happens. So, yeah. So when my dad was into something, I was like, nah.
Opposite way.
Yeah. When he told me that, he like sent me a tape of CNC Music Factory. And it was before, and he was like, tell me what you think. And I was like, it is terrible. Which means it's gonna do really good, And it did. It did.
It's still like your nephew knows that shit because of like memes and all the YouTube videos and the movies and shit. So I think I've done this, but I'm gonna do this on the show. I just want to say thank you because I know you initially through the designer vinyl toy scene because we were on, shout out to Marka 27. We were on that what were they called? Big Buddies.
Yep, Big Buddies.
It was like early 2000s, and I like accidentally, like I do every industry, accidentally rolled up in it, and you're a part of that. And then, excuse me, that's how I know Kano, Woes, everybody, Ginger Snappers, but then above and beyond that, like I got to know you. You're super kind. Don't let the neck tats fool you, kids. Like he's one of the nicest, sweetest guys. But also, like you've been, there's not that many people that I think understand. You're a graph artist, muralist. You do designer vinyl toys, but also you understand that corporate life as well as a designer, as a creative director, art director, and I feel like you've given me a lot of bars on a lot of things, but especially in the designer toy world. You've been in it for such a long time. You always were the first person I go to if I, what do you think about this, or what about this contract, or you know what I'm saying. So I just want to thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. I try to help out as many people as I possibly can. That's another thing that, when people reach out to me through DMs and stuff, and they got questions for me and stuff, and I reply, the first thing they say is, holy shit, you replied. And I feel that kind of hurts, man, because I think at a time when I was coming up, I wish I had stuff to bounce somebody off of. And I did, I did, but it was always had to be in person and stuff like that. But like Tristan and Shane and when I was on the East Coast and stuff like that, I did have a group of people that I would bounce stuff off of, but a lot of stuff at that particular time, everybody was doing it at the beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was almost like we were all at the same spot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and that's interesting because how I accidentally fell into that scene. Not accidentally fell into the music scene, but now I'm into another thing to thank you and Tristan Eaton for, is that we didn't really know, or no one in our circle had really never mentioned NFTs until you guys did, what, like 2 years ago or something?
Yep.
A year and a half, 2 years ago. I don't know. Time's crazy right now. There. Right. And so because of you guys, then we were exposed. Our crew was exposed. And then we looked into it. I looked into it. And then it was a podcast. And now I'm all up, you know. I was going to say something inappropriate right now.
Full-blown NFT.
I'm all in Web3.
You're probably way more than I am.
It's crazy, but you guys were the catalyst. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, what? What is that? What does that even mean? Like, what? And so another thank you for that. Also, I think it's interesting what you just, I think it's also interesting what you said about how when you entered the scene, the designer vinyl toy scene, how everybody was new and you guys were all, so there's no one to ask because it was kind of a new thing. You guys were all, and I've noticed now going into this new space and now another thing of this Web3 space, and specifically kind of like a Web3, like, you know, Latino, Latina, Latina, whatever you want to call it. It's brand new, the industry, but also we're all brand new into it. And I keep telling, I'm at the point right now where we've all experienced, Sket, where you get into something and then it's, you guys are all hyped because you guys are all new. So you guys like all hang out, but then eventually, you know, you start seeing people for who they really are. You know, the sharks start coming out. You see people's intentions. You see people's work ethic. You see, you know, maybe it's just, you guys thought it was cool, but now they're Cornsville or you're Cornsville to them. Like, I'm in that phase right now. And I was telling peeps in the scene, I was like, it happens every single industry I've been in. You don't know what you don't know, right? So, and there's no one you could reach out to as like, quote unquote, experts. So you're just like, oh, let's do it together. Let's unite, happy family. And then you're just like, oh, nope, egos, all that shit.
I feel like that's my life. Like I have phases, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I was talking to somebody about it. I was talking to Scene about it yesterday. That, like, you know, when people say I lived like 3 lifetimes, I get that now. Like, I get that. I feel that now.
For real.
You know, because I've had sections in my life where, let's just say roughly every 10 years, you know, I have like something that happens within that 10 years and then it passes and I go into a new phase.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's super weird. And, you know, there's always this same lesson. And it's the lesson you just talked about is you learn about all these different things and you're like, oh, this dude's doing this. All right. Well, you know, and it's tiring. It's exhausting.
It's exhausting, Sket. That's one thing I was saying too. It's exhausting. And I just got out of a meeting earlier today and we were like, well, here we are. You know, it's just like maybe you have some advice for this, but you're in it's an industry, it's a niche industry, it's a small knit community, it's incestuous, you know, you're going to have to work with all the people all the time, somehow, some way, right? But then you find out they did some shady shit to you. They did some shady shit to someone in your crew. So how do you navigate? Like, I was like, okay, I can't have a smear campaign off of this person. I don't want to waste the energy. It's not a good look, but I also don't want that person to get over on anyone else. So it's just like, right now I'm at the point where let's just keep it with the people that are tight-knit people that we trust. Yeah. And we just tell people, we don't tell them the business if we're not close with them, but just tell them to look out. Like, I feel like they'll eventually encounter that person. But like, what's the balance? Like, how do you balance that?
Each person has their own relationship with each person, you know, and, you know, a perfect example is I was working with a company. Okay. And there was this other artist that was going to work with the company.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now this company screwed me or tried to get over on me. It's being taken care of right now.
Nice.
But this other person came to me and was like, yo, man, I heard that, they did some shady shit to you, et cetera, et cetera. And I turned to this person and I was like, yes, they did. It's not cool. I'm mad, pissed, and I'm taking care of it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, I don't want to work with them if they did that to you. And I was like, no, you do you.
Mm-hmm.
I said, this is your situation. I don't want you to miss out on making some money because of my situation.
Mm-hmm.
You do you, and just go in there knowing what they did to me, but you go make yours.
Yeah.
And they were like, you sure? And I was like, yeah. I was like, my business has nothing to do with your business. So I don't want it to affect your cash flow.
Mm.
If you can get some money, get some money. I'll take care of my business,
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. I told them, I said, I appreciate it, but there's no reason to, miss an opportunity or miss a chance that, could help you personally.
Yeah.
Because of some shit I went through.
So it's just telling them, just informing them however you feel comfortable so that they can make an informed decision moving forward. Like, don't stop your shit because of what happened to me, but no, they are capable. If they're going to do it to me, they're capable of doing it to anybody. So move accordingly. You have to make that decision for yourself.
Yeah. And you know what? They might not do it to him because of what's going on with me and that.
Exactly.
They might be like, oh shit, maybe we shouldn't do this.
Exactly.
So
it's just.
I feel like because I also work with producers that I have great relationships with, and they're awesome people, and I refer them and I turn people on to them, et cetera, et cetera. And then, they are friends with people that I'm not friends with, and I don't want to be friends with, and I don't jive with.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it doesn't affect that relationship. Like, there's that A and B. I'm not going to let this, this C over here and this D over here affect A and B.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I guess it's a case by case basis,
Yeah.
I mean, I've worked with companies that have screwed me, but they turn around and have done, they've taken care of another one of my friends 10 times older. So that's when it's like, oh, okay, well, you know what? You're getting taken care of good.
Yeah.
They
didn't fuck you over.
I got fucked.
Yeah. Good for you. Yeah. Got it. Yeah, it's just fascinating, because I forgot about that until I got into this new one. And I was just like, oh, I've been here before many times. It happens every time. It happened, like you said, it's cyclical. It's just like, oh, okay, I get excited and passionate. And then I have to remember, like, don't get too crazy because all this shit is going to happen again. There's always the shadies. There's always the sharks. Especially the ones that put up a front like they're all down and helpful, but they're really not. Those are in every fucking industry. Those are people in life. So it makes sense.
Man, I could write a book.
Yeah, you'd be rich. We'd be rich as fuck if we talked about how the many times that we had to deal with these sharks, and especially just, it's a whole nother topic. Okay, so let's get into, I feel like the questions and comments from the audience is gonna cover a lot of, your story. So let's get into the questions and comments from the audience. First one, why did he decide to move to California and how did the move impact his art career? This is from your Heard Show crew, Kano. This is a question that I could ask on air, quote unquote.
So why did I decide to move to California?
And how did that impact your art career?
Well, so I decided to move to California for a bunch of different reasons, but one of the main reasons at that particular time was I got an offer from Bad Juju.
Oh, yeah.
And Bad Juju came over and they offered to move me out to California. They gave me a signing bonus. They threw a bunch of money at me. So that was probably the big thing. The other thing was, women's. kind of thing. And California is just, so there was a time period, what I would say about a good 6 months, maybe even longer, that I was flying back and forth and coming out to California on a regular basis.
Yep.
And it was very obvious that what was going on in New York, say from 2003 to 2010, has moved over to the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
So like after 2008, when all that, economy shit hit, everything in the vinyl scene kind of died in New York. Not even just vinyl, creative.
Art in general, the art scene in general.
Like the animation studios closed, galleries closed, stores closed. Just, it got hit hard. So everybody was kind of like, looking around, asking what's next. And I think, Kano moved out here. Shane moved out here, and it was all for work. And then I moved out here, and then Tristan moved out here. So like everybody was just starting to come over here. And the thing about LA is because the movies and the animation studios and all that film creative stuff is out here, there's always work. I feel like I didn't feel a lull whatsoever, in the vinyl industry. I mean, there's still people having shows. The art scene out here is, I think, personally, 20 times better than New York.
And at that time, it was booming. Like, right? There was like, we had to pick and choose where we were going to go. Sometimes we couldn't go to everything because there was so much shit. I mean, I don't know if that's like that. I don't think it's like that, especially for designer vinyl toys, but maybe art, it seems to be picking up a little bit, but I don't know if it will ever maybe it'll get back to that. But
I feel like everything got screwed up because of COVID. So
true. So we don't know the true situation, but those were good times. So it impacted your art career for the better?
Oh, definitely. Well, the other thing is when I first, when I was around 2010 and stuff, I was looking at my customers on a whole and where they were located. And like 80% of them are located in California. So I was like, okay, they're going to save on shipping. They're going to save, for all the people who supported me, I always try to work, to make it better for them, because, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if I didn't have the support. Yeah. So moving out to California was just a very, very smart business move. It really was. So yeah.
So it was good shit. And then we got to, all hang out and, hashtag thanks Sket,
Yeah, I can't even imagine if I stayed in New Haven, what life would be like. Like I can't even think about that. Like I'm sure there's another timeline in existence somewhere.
Yeah, an alternate time.
And that Sket is living in New Haven if he's still alive and didn't take himself out.
And if he didn't take himself out, would he still be doing anything creative?
Well, he would still be working at the marketing firm. I can tell you that much.
So he'd be doing design and stuff and art, creative direction and stuff. But would you be doing any of the figures and the shows and stuff?
I have no idea.
That's crazy.
No idea.
Another alternate timeline Sket.
Oh, there's a bunch of them, I'm sure.
Okay, next question. How important is it to Sket to keep the tradition of Black books in his art practice? And this is by Raphael Riz Rocks. aka Riz Rocks 1.
So I have Black books, but here's the crazy thing is I would say probably in my last Black book was probably like late, like maybe 2007. And then it just became sheets of paper. I would just end up drawing on paper and sticking them in a folder. Like I just have a stack of folders and stuff like that of just drawings, and I think it's important, if I like black books. You know, they're a nice
Yeah.
collection, you know, and stuff like that. And it's always good to like pass them along and give them to other people to draw on and stuff. But I mean, for me personally, I find black books confining, you know, because of the cover, and it just used to piss me off. But I like loose leaf because you can like turn it, and you know, you can.
Yeah.
It's just you have more freedom when you have a sheet of paper rather than a book. But you know, I think there's a period in time where graffiti writers should have a black book, and they should have, you know, an organized book of sketches and stuff like that. I think it's a rite of passage almost.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Cox sabe que tu familia no para. Por eso ofrece nuevos paquetes de Internet que te brindan la misma velocidad y flexibilidad que esperas de Cox. Además, Panoramic Wi-Fi está incluido en algunos planes sin costo adicional. Es Internet que sigue tu ritmo. Todo sin contrato anual, que significa que no hay molestos cargos por terminación anticipada. Desconéctate de tu rutina, pero no de tu Wi-Fi cuando estás fuera de casa. Cox te da acceso a más de 3 millones de hotspots de Wi-Fi. Después de un largo día, reúnen la familia para una noche de películas con Contour Stream Player. Disfruta de deportes en vivo, tus programas favoritos en Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus y más con apps de streaming populares. Conoce más en cox.com/español.
This is your friendly reminder to take a deep breath. Este es tu recordatorio para que respires profundo. Take a deep breath in. Inhala profundo. Exhale as you observe your breath, letting all the air out. Exhala, observando tu exhalación, dejando salir todo el aire. Would you like to help me reach my mission of teaching meditation to 1 million children? ¿Te gustaría ayudarme a alcanzar mi misión de enseñar meditación a 1 millón de niños? I invite you to join me in the Decide Balance Oasis, a safe space where families can find bilingual meditations and mindfulness practices and so much more. Te invito a que te unas conmigo en el Decide Balance Oasis, un espacio seguro donde las familias pueden encontrar meditaciones bilingües y prácticas de atención plena y mucho más. Go to decidebalance.com for more details. I'll see you in the Oasis. Visita decidebalance.com para obtener más información. Nos vemos en el Oasis.
Gracias for listening to Word to Your Mama. I have a unique cross-section of guests on here because I'm a consultant who thrives at the intersection of creative innovation, tech, and community impact. There are a variety of ways we could work together, so check out ritzyperrywinkle.com to learn more. Link in the bio. And I feel like even in this digital world, I think you still need to keep up your analog skills. Like you still need to, I mean, if you're a well-rounded artist, I feel you should be able to draw on paper.
Yeah, definitely.
The fundamentals,
Definitely.
right? The basics.
I mean, I still start off on paper, you know, even if it's just a circle and then, you know, another circle for hands. And you know what I mean? I still start off with that. I'll take a shot of it and bring it into Illustrator and then I'll build off of that. But it's still, to get this out of there, it's going to get sketched first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's plus now when I go paint, it's even rare that I actually bring a sketch with me and I just sketch on the wall, you know, which is really like liberating because it's, you know, it's big. It's, you know, you could be like, oh, I'm going to put this over there and I'm going to put this over there, you know?
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, drawing's important. Drawings. Okay. I haven't made the switch yet though, you know, to a tablet, to these, you know, like what Kano uses and other people like Jesse and,
Yeah.
They use these big tablets and stuff, and they can spin them and sketch them. And I still, build with a mouse.
Yeah.
Do
you think you'll switch?
I don't know. I like at this particular point, I'm kind of like, why? It works. If it's not broken, why fix it?
Yeah.
But like right now is a very pivotal time for like my future. I don't know where I'm going. Well, I do know where I'm going. I just don't know. I feel like things are going to get very analog in the next year for me. I feel like I'm moving away. I'm going to start, I talked to Big Boy.
Oh, I saw that. Was he in town?
Yeah. Yeah. He was because SneakerCon happened this weekend.
Oh, so that was in Vegas. I was like, is that Long Beach or? Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So I saw him and he was like, I want you to come back out and I want you to do canvases and stuff. So I was like, all right, here we go.
Shout out to Big Boy legend. But I forgot to ask you, I had a crazy fever this weekend. I remember I saw that picture and I was like, am I hallucinating? Is that Big Boy from the Philippines with Sket in them?
Yeah.
How's he doing? He's good?
I saw he came out, so I messaged him. I never want to bother him. That's a good thing about being out here is like everybody comes here.
Yeah. All the conferences and shit.
Yeah. Just everybody comes here. So when I see people are here, I hit them up and I'm like, if you got 5 or 10 minutes, say what's up, let me know. And he was like, yeah. And I was going down to that Andy Nguyen was having an opening of Hello Kitty Cafe. And
Nice.
Janelle works with him. So
yeah.
The whole family went down. And I told Big Boy to come by. And it was great to see him.
Did Andy and Big Boy know each other?
They knew each other online, but they never.
Nice.
So I introduced them to each other, and of course, Big Boy was like, "When are we gonna do this down in Manila?" He wants.
Oh, totally. Oh yeah. It's time. And Andy's going to.
Yeah, he's going to Korea.
Compound. Wow.
He's opened up a Board 8 out in Korea.
It's going to be massive. That's going to be massive. Okay, so the next question. Tell us about your design process for your latest Optimus Prime project. And that is from your nephew, the supernatural bear.
The design process. Well, I already worked previously on the Transformers license through Loyal Subjects.
Oh.
And remember back in 2014, I did all the T-shirts.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I remember
skate decks and all that stuff. So to come back to it, I was kind of stoked, Yeah. The design process. After having a meeting with Sideshow, I asked them what they were looking for, and they were just like, we want something graffiti-ish. We want something, influenced by you. And I was like, all right, cool. So, my first thought was, okay, I'm going to convert Optimus Prime into a train. That was my first thought. I was like, all right, we're going to change the tires and stuff to train wheels and stuff like that. And then I was like, I'm going to put a throw up on the window like he was tagged. And then I did a bunch of like graffiti words. And I worked on the Transformers logo. And I was like, okay, this is going to be almost like Elements packaging. I started thinking ahead. I was like, all right, I gotta have something on, some kind of like branding, for the project that was specific towards the project. So I worked on that. And then sketching positions, I went through old comic books, Marvel Transformers comic books to look over Prime's positions and different stances. And I found one that I liked, sketched it out, brought it into Illustrator, and just started building, the basic shapes of him and getting down, when I do people or when I do, I don't know, figures.
Yeah.
I do them very simple. I refer to the Star Wars mural I did out in Japan in 2019. It's very blocky and very, what's that style? The low poly. Yeah. So it has that sort of flavor to it. So I got that down. And once I got that down, then I was like, I started talking to them about what I was able to do. Because, every time you throw in a little extra thing, it's a little extra money.
Yeah.
So I was like, can I attach cans to him? Because, Prime has the smokestacks.
Yeah.
Like that would be dope if they were spray paint cans. So that's when I started attaching spray paint cans to him. And then I was like, can I change his face and put a respirator on him? Which everybody gets mad at me. They're like, why'd you put a respirator on a robot? I was like, why are you confining my creativity? Like, I can do whatever I want. It's Transformers.
Exactly.
I was like, it's a made up story. Don't you get it? I can do whatever I want.
He doesn't exist, dude.
Like, why are you taking it personal? So then I got the staff and the roller and little by little I started to build him, to what he came out as. So it was a long process. That's been in the works for 2 years.
Wow. I remember. So the first draft, if you will, that you sent them, was that approved, or did they come back and give you some tweaks?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It was a lot of back and forth.
My drips were a lot longer. There was a lot. It was more. There was things that I created that I should have known, beforehand, couldn't be reproduced.
Got it.
So they were like, we have to shorten the drips and they have to do all this stuff because it will make it easy to break and all this stuff. So yeah, I had a bunch of different revisions on it,
Yeah. But it was mostly like little details, like not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything
major.
like it wasn't, they didn't come back and be like, okay, we don't like this at all. We're going to scrap the whole thing.
Got it. So
no,
just
they were
things. Projection shit.
They liked it. They were like, this is dope. This is dope. Because what I did at the very beginning was I did only one position and I had all the art, the branding art to the left. And then I had one of my old t-shirts that I did to the right so they could see that, this is where it's coming from.
Yeah.
This style.
Smart decision. Because you have to give them as much as you can so they can get the entire picture. And it seems like that's what you did.
Well, they have to go to Hasbro and be like, this is what we're going to invest in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to pitch your design. I mean, that's the weird thing back to the whole corporate thing when you mentioned like that I understood the whole corporate thing. I do. I've been doing corporate work for 25 years and I've always wanted to bring cool creative stuff to the corporate side. But I think sometimes going the other way, like it's melting both together. Yeah. So both sides are happy is like when you work on a project like this with a license, I think is key.
It's
understanding.
A skill. It's a skill.
Understanding that you're going to have to impress some suits and try to get over on some suits. And at the same time, not sell yourself out and just fucking be like, I'm going to do this corny project.
Yeah. You gotta push it like, on both ends. And I tell, I have a couple mentees and I, tell them that, they're excited because I work for myself now, but I tell them, I was like, the time that I had, even if it was a little bit of time, it wasn't that little bit of time, but the time that I had in corporate world was invaluable because I learned a lot. And you learn, and it doesn't matter that it was that long ago. It doesn't matter if it's now. You learned people skills, people navigating skills. You know how the system works. So like right now, like for instance, you in this project, you know what you need to do to present so that the suits, and I always say that the suits got to say yes, but they don't give a fuck about looks and design. They want to say, what can we get away with? What can we get approved? And how is that affecting our bottom line? They want the numbers. They want it to be reflected in the numbers. So, and it's like I was saying, it's a skill because you're like, whether it's you or you're project managing another artist, it's like, let's push it here, but also let's not give in. And then it's like, also let's present it in a way that they understand, because they won't understand it if you just give them a little bit, right? Like they have to see the whole picture. So I always say, like, get in for a little bit, 6 months, a year, get that corporate shit in, figure out how that works, because that's going to help you. It's invaluable. Like I know how to navigate because I was like, oh, the suits. I got to think of the suits.
When I'm working on logo programs, I'll do a shitty logo and throw it in. And the reason being is because I want them to look over there.
Yeah.
So when they see that shitty logo, they're like, oh, that's shitty. And then they go over there and they're like, I'm like.
But have they ever picked, because some people have terrible taste. Have they ever picked a shitty logo?
No. No, they don't. What's funny is maybe my creative director might.
Shade.
No, I'm just saying, sometimes those project managers, they don't. They think
they know, but they don't know.
They think they know. They don't know.
Yeah. Hilarious. Yeah, like I've gotten to the point now, if I present something, my weakest one, I'm like, am I okay with my name on that? And, or like, what is my exposure on this? Will anyone know that it was me? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's always a thing. Okay, so let's get into the not so rapid fire questions, the AKA slow as hell questions. Sket Uno, are you ready?
Yep, let's do it.
3 words to describe yourself.
Jerk. No.
Not at all.
Driven.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely driven, motivated. Let's see, what else? I'm definitely hard-headed. I'm hard-headed.
Ding, ding, ding.
I am a hard-headed person. That's definitely. And I don't know, I like to have fun. I think I'm a fun person.
Yeah.
Even though Spanky Stokes always said you're very stoic. That was his favorite adjective for me.
For you, stoic. What are you, a statue? The next one. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Do it yourself. That's honestly, that's the best advice. Do it yourself. And that's anything. That's anything. Like, there's not many people you can count on, man. To have the same kind of passion and the same kind of like vision that you have.
Yeah.
So if it's your stuff, do it yourself. Learn how to do it yourself.
Yeah. Whatever you need to learn.
Yes.
Learn that skill so that you can. Yeah, it's true. It's true. This will be interesting. What's your hype song when you need to? Like your go-to, I need to get hyped. I'm going to play this track.
It's a mix. It's a mix. So it's a 1994 mix by DJ Ayers. It's dope. But honestly, I would have to say there's 2 songs on that mix.
Okay.
It would be Made You Look and then by Nas. And then I would have to say the other one would be Time's Up by OC.
Okay.
Those 2 songs are fucking hard.
So I'm going to look for that mix if I can find a YouTube. If not, for sure, those 2 songs will be added to the Word to Your Mama guest hype playlist. I'll have a link in the show notes, along with all of Sket Uno's projects. Last question. What will be your legacy?
What will be my legacy?
Yes.
What do you mean? Like
when you're not on this earth anymore, what will people think when they think of Sket One? They see a Sket One piece, they see a Sket One figure, or just think of you. What would be your legacy? Like, what do you leave behind for the world? It could be people.
Hopefully art that people dig,
Yeah.
That's what I hope. That's my main objective.
Yeah.
To to this life. It wasn't, it wasn't always like that. But by this time, I'm like, I got to leave something, I mean, it's always cool to like inspire people. I get messages all the time from kids who were like, young and they had dunnies, and now they're like, now they're like in college or something, and they're like, yo, I got into this because of you, or stuff like that. Or, when you speak to students or you speak to somebody at your hometown that was like stoked that, you got to work on a project or you got to a certain level, and you're just like, yo, you inspired me to like do this. And that's always good, because there's mad people out there that did that for me.
Yeah.
They still do it for me. And, I every time, I tell them every chance I get, because it's important, it's I think being an artist, there's that constant hatred of your work and yourself. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But there's so much self-doubt in art, and to have peers or to have fans or to have anybody come up to you and be like, yo, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like Ghostface, with that video, it's still
Dope.
Sends chills, man.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, that's fucking Ghostface. Like, fuck.
Yeah. Like it's validating. And it's also, I think it would be great for anyone listening that's a young artist to hear someone like you that's been in the game for so long, to hear that, you never grow out of it. It's, I think with everything else and a lot of people that I have on here, it's what a good friend of mine talked about. It's just the recovery time. Like, we all get imposter syndrome. As an artist, we all are harder on ourselves, and we got that self-doubt and all that shit. But I think it's as you get older.
Except maybe Kano ain't got no self-doubt. Kano ain't got self-doubt.
I'm sure he does. I think it's the recovery time, right? Like, you get it, but you don't dwell in that place that long anymore, hopefully, but you always get it. And I think that's refreshing. I mean, to hear.
Now it gets to the point where, when I work on a project or I got something new coming out, I just execute and push it and move on to the next. And I'm just like, just stay focused.
Yeah.
And I don't even give it any time anymore. Like back in the day, I might sit there and ponder. I used to ponder all the time. I'd be like, why did that piece sell, but this piece didn't? Like, I like this piece way better.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you never know, huh? You never know. And
if we knew, I would just do the good ones.
Exactly. And it's funny because every time I get a new client, big or small, I've been doing it for such a long time, I still get a little nervous when I because it's just, I don't know, it's just natural. And it's just like, I want to make sure that I didn't lose my touch. Did I understand the fucking assignment? Did I understand what they were trying to communicate?
I just did a job. And it was a corporate job, but they came to me for my artistic side of things. And that's literally, I told the guy that was my contact through the guy I was doing the work. I was like, are they cool? Did they like it? Are they happy?
Yeah. That's hilarious, because I'm always like, what did they say? Like, specifically, like what?
Come on, I need the details.
I need all the details.
Reassurance.
Exactly. I know, it's hilarious. It's funny, man. I think, like I said, I think people are gonna really appreciate this talk, because it's people that have been doing it for a long time, and you still get that way. I think it's hilarious. And I always say this story. I think it was right before the pandemic. I saw Oprah talk about she got invited to do the Harvard commencement speech, and she was shook.
Of course.
She kept putting it aside. She kept procrastinating. She kept procrastinating because she thought, why are they inviting me? And I was like, that's motherfucking Oprah. If Oprah is feeling like that,
Oprah should have just paid somebody to write it and then Shit, I would have been like, okay, go get me somebody dope to write my commencement speech, and I'm just gonna go up there and read it. I'm Oprah.
Yeah, I got a grip of money. I can do that. Like, yeah, it's so when I heard that, I was like, oh yeah, we're not immune. This shit's always gonna happen, and it's like, you know, my good friend Jessica Cable, she's the one we were talking. She was interviewing for something, and we were coming up with thing. We're like, oh, that's what it is. And she's like, yeah, recovery time. It's the recovery time that shortens. Like you said, like you know now. I'm gonna stay focused on this shit on to the next, because if I don't, I'm gonna get in that space where I'm like, did I do it right? I could have done this. It did it. Like we all do that shit. And I think as artists, that shit is personal. Like design is one thing, and I still feel like that. But when it comes to art, like I haven't done shit since 2016. You keep putting out shit, but it's just like you keep putting it out. And it's like I feel like you keep putting yourself out. Like, and you're allowing people to like, I don't know. It seems so personal. I don't know.
I think it's funny. I just posted a piece of art that was from 2007, and that somebody has in their collection. And it was a very personal piece. And I was like, damn, I did it. Like, I put that out there. I forgot. Like, why would I expose myself? Like
what was I going through?
Oh, I know what I was going through.
Oh, you remember.
Oh, yeah. Trust me. But I was I was actually shocked that I wasn't shocked because I remembered the piece, but I was just like, wow, I've changed a lot.
Yeah, like, the growth.
Yeah, I've changed a lot. Yeah, my artwork tends to be a lot more jovial now. Happy.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say when I asked you the question of your legacy. You know, for sure, you're one of those artists that when people think of your shit, it's joy. You know, especially just thinking about your figures. It doesn't matter if it's the spray can or whatever it is. It's always joyful. It brings a smile to your face, because not just the way you illustrate it, but the color schemes, very joyful. And one thing that I think always sticks out since you did it is the wall that's at the Long Beach Convention Center.
Yep, the phase 1 stuff.
Yeah, it's just joy, pure joy. And I think that's a great legacy to have, Sket Uno. So tell the folks, this is today is July 11th. This will be out in a week or two. Or we're out of pre-order for the Prime?
No, you can pre-order it right now.
You can pre-order right now.
Yeah. No, it's supposed to come out anywhere between October and November. So I'm assuming it's going to be at DCon.
Sweet. Perfect.
That's when they'll probably release it and sell it. But I have a big project coming out on the 20th
of July.
With Major League Baseball, the show. It's the video game on the PlayStation system.
Dope.
And also, what's the other one? The other system, the Microsoft one? Xbox.
Xbox. Yeah, mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have downloadable bats. You have to go on a conquest and you can download bats that I designed.
Dope. Amazing. Felicidades. Yeah. That's dope.
So that's pretty cool. It's something that's very small, but at the same time, like when I think about the extent to the video game world, and people play games all over the world and stuff like that. This is something that's distributed,
Yeah, world fucking wide.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. That's the scoop. You're the first place I talked about it, so.
Hell yeah, we got the Sket Uno scoop. And also, Sket, how dope would your 13-year-old self like see you now, all the shit that you've done for the shit that you love, the Transformers, the I don't know the acronyms for the baseball shit. You know what I'm saying? Like all the shit that you do, and it's shit that you loved since you were a kid. The skateboard decks and the
Definitely like, the decks. I've gotten to work with BMX companies. I got to work with 09. I worked with there's artists, music artists that I've worked with that that I looked up to and listened to, and they inspired me, and now they're, into what I'm into and, what I'm doing. So it's, 13-year-old me would be like, dope, you did it.
Yeah.
But
that's amazing.
At the same time, I feel like as an artist that, they always ask you, well, what's your favorite piece that you've done so far? And I'm like, I haven't done it yet. You know what I mean? Like, I know, I just want to keep going. I want to keep,
it's great answer.
I have people like, I look at people like Richie, like singing, he's, and, even, other people that are in their 60s and 70s and they're still creating.
Yeah, that's inspiring.
So I'm going to be there, hopefully. But that's how I feel. It's just, I'm just going to keep creating, and wherever it leads me,
you're riding the ride.
I make money doing it.
Yeah. Money haven, money craving, New Haven.
Money craving, pistol waving.
Thank you, Sket.
So true. You don't know how true those words are.
But thank you so much, Sket Uno. I really appreciate it. This is a long time coming. And now that you've been on this shit, we can finally, at some point, maybe by the end of the year, we'll see everyone's scheduled. Then we can finally do the You Heard Show reunion. Yeah,
I'm surprised that your Heard Show question didn't come up. I would have figured Kano would have shot that at me. Like, give us the scoop. Why'd you stop?
No, you didn't hear me because you were talking, but I said hashtag thanks, Sket. I threw a little bit of it in there, just a little bit. But I'm sure we'll get into it when we do this, hopefully, eventually, sometime later, maybe this year or next year. But muchísimas gracias, Sket. I'm excited to see all the new shit that's coming out this year and what you have in the works. Because one thing is for sure, Sket is always working on some shit. And we may not know, and then he'll just be like, oh yeah, I got said. What? That's major. That's amazing, And it's great to see. It's inspiring just to see you do the shit that you love and have fun at the same time. And always on top of that is you're always elevating, always up in the game of like the opportunities and who you're working with. And I think that's also inspiring. It's like you evolve or become extinct, and I think you just keep moving and you keep pushing and you keep learning and helping others. And I think that also helps you too, you know what I'm saying? Because you're a good person. You're not a dick. I mean, there's we know of a lot of assholes and dicks that are successful, but they're not enjoying life. You're enjoying life. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I try to. I definitely try to.
And I'm excited. Hopefully, I'll get to see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. And thanks for everybody for listening. I appreciate it. And let me know how you like it.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm gonna have a link to all his shit. Buy all his shit. It's quality stuff. So I'm gonna have a link to all his stuff. But thank you, Sket. I appreciate it.
Alrighty, thank you.
And now introducing
the Supernatural Bear Corner. Supernatural Bear.
Hello everyone, I am the SMB, and today for the SMB Corner, we're going to be talking about my Uncle Sket. So he is, he's an amazing guy. He loves to do artwork and sometimes some custom work and stuff. And he recently made a Optimus Prime, which is coming out very, very soon. I'm hoping to secure myself a copy in the future. So my mom will have that in the show notes below. And so I recently got my second COVID shot. And I was messed up for like 1 to 2 weeks, slightly messed up. Actually, I was super messed up for the first 2 days. It was terrible. And he was planning to send me the brand new Transformers Lego Optimus Prime. Yes, it is a real thing, and I'm hoping more come out in the future. So he sent it, and my mom had to have something for hype to get the vaccine, and I was so hyped for it that I didn't even want to wait. I literally just wanted to have it done already. Like, and not in the way because I don't want it to hurt. More like in the way like, come on, just do it already. I want to build this Prime, okay? Yeah, it didn't end up well. But I got to build the Prime eventually after I got it. And it's super duper cool. And it's just amazing. It's an awesome Prime. It's Optimus Prime. There's nothing else I can say about it besides the fact that it is Optimus Prime. And it is a great Optimus Prime. I love it. It is amazing. And just having it, I never thought I'd have it because it's like $180. But now that I do have it in hand, it's just, it's awesome. And then, just going a little off topic, but still on Transformers, my uncles recently got me an epic die-cast metal Transformers minis set.
What uncles?
My Tios, who might come on the show podcast sometime soon. Sorry, don't want to spoil anything. But anyways, yeah, they got me an epic set of die-cast metal minis, and I'm taking photo shoots of them, and I'll probably be done with Wave 1 by the time this episode comes out. So, yeah. So, this has been the SMB signing off. Thank you guys for listening, and I will see you in the next episode. Stay safe, guys.
Shooby-doos. Yeah. There you have it, folks. Episode 88 of Word to Your Mama. Quality Caucasian. I told you I only have quality Caucasians on here. And yeah, it's very interesting during the conversation, after the conversation, actually. I was thinking, how he was saying that his current work for the past couple of years has been very joyful. But I think it's always kind of been joyful. And I haven't exhibited since 2016 and really haven't been creating any of my own art. But I think it's because I was in a dark place for the entirety of my life up until that point, and my art was pretty dark. Like, it was always like skulls and blood, and like, people thought I was a dude. I don't know why my name was Ritzy, but yeah, it was just, I don't know. So I haven't had the bandwidth or the space to try to figure out where I'm at, but I think I'm joyful. But what does that look like for me? Because it's not cutesy. Anyways, I think that's very interesting. Don't forget, in the show notes, I have a link to Sket 1. I have a link to the amazing Optimus Prime. Also, Kano, he's asked a question. We've had him on as a guest. The mild-mannered hoodlum, the one from Queens. He has a Bumblebee that I think is pre-order. You could order now. It's in the same universe where they get to, customize it. And it's create the figure from Jump. That's coming out on Unruly, so you definitely need to check that out as well. Don't forget, we have the link to the Word to Your Mama hype song playlist on Spotify. And thank you so much for supporting the show. As you might have heard, unless you skipped through, I have my second host-led promo in Spanish. If you guys know me and my history, being a heritage speaker, that's a new term that I learned. This is big for me. The first one was really big, and this one's it's big. And for supporting, you can do it for free. Leave a couple 5-star reviews. Tell your folks, tell your peeps, tell your friends. You become a patron. You can buy us a whiskey via Buy Me a Coffee, and you can also always head over to the Word to Your Mama store to buy some enamel pins, some tea towels, some shirts, some custom shirts. Oh, please believe it. Custom shirts and custom tanks. It's summertime. You need some razor back tank tops. But yes, so thank you very much. We appreciate all the support. And until then, we reap. Word to Your Mama is owned and produced by Ritzy P. Intro beat produced by Nico Beats. For partnership inquiries and contact info, check out wordtoyourmama.com. And as always, Word to Your Mama is brought to you by ritzyperiwinkle.com.